Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. You may have seen this guy Yanis Varoufakis before. He's this Greek leftist liberal thinker who's treated as something of a sage by the Guardianista class, like a sort of cross between a New Age Eckhart Tolle and Noam Chomsky type figure. Anyway, here he is on Politics Joe, laying out the classic shibboleth of our age, that everything he doesn't like is fascist. To be fair to him, he does offer a more comprehensive analysis than you normally get. Remember, fascism is just a code word for evil in the modern era. Most of people who use this word don't really tend to know what it means, but here's Yanis.
There's carnage happening in our societies. Donald Trump. Nigel Farage is very good. He goes down to the pub, he looks in particularly men's eyes, men who feel absolutely devastated, who feel that they are being treated like vermin by the establishment. And he says, look, they treat me like that too. I understand you, and I'm going to look after you. That was Mussolini. That was Hitler. That was Goebbels. That is Farage.
Now, I think Yanis is getting a bit mixed up here because, to be fair to him, I think he makes a fair point about Farage, but he's got it all mixed up in his ideological possession about fascism and so on. Now, for the umpteenth time, Nigel Farage is not a fascist. If you think he is, you don't know what fascism is. For starters, he's a small state Thatcherite by instinct. Fascism is a big state ideology. When it comes to social issues, he's pretty much a libertarian. I'd like to see him a lot further to the right on social stuff. The only way you could really say he has anything close to a fascist inkling is having a strong sense of patriotism. Now, I would say Farage's patriotism is intertwined with a almost religious faith in the market, which to my mind would undermine the national good anyway, but that's just my take. The point is, I think that that's hardly fascist. Now, the one dimension where I think Yanis does have some sort of a point is with regards to the average bloke down the pub aligning with Reform and Farage. To my mind, Farage won't be able to do much about mass inequality. I don't think he'll be able to do too much about the decay of the nation, certainly not the decay of Europe. And further to that, I don't really see how he's going to solve mass immigration when he's so loyal to the very mechanism that produced it in the first place, i.e. the global market. But where I think Varoufakis gets everything wrong is in his assumption that it takes a Farage to come and corrupt the public conversation, as if the average bloke on the street isn't witnessing the national decay himself, that he isn't recognising he's being made a minority in his own country. And this is where the twist of irony comes in. People like Varoufakis claim Farage are manipulating people, but Varoufakis himself is manipulating people here. After all, he's making a legitimate claim that we're seeing, if you like, a globalist class manipulate the average bloke on the street. That's true. But the implication he makes is that the actual decay we feel in the nation, the idea that people don't want to be a minority in their own country, is some sort of false consciousness created by the market and exacerbated by demagogues such as Farage, i.e. you have no right to feel the way you feel, it's all just the response of the global capitalist class. So in one sense he's right. People are being screwed over by the globalist class, but he denies you the right to recognise how you're being screwed over, and is going to divert you back in to leftist liberal utopian ideology.
And they say all the right things regarding the manner in which the global ruling class has connived so that the working classes have been deprived of basic dignity and basic capacity to reproduce their daily lives. And he says, give me all the power, and I am going to make you proud again. The finger is pointed at the Jew, at the Muslim, at the slightly brown person, at the trans, at the gay, at the woman that doesn't want to stay at home. And you have this coalescence of legitimate grievances with a fascistic patriarchal narrative.
So as you can see, Varoufakis utilises the very real problem of globalist power, but then reinterprets it through a leftist liberal frame, ignoring, of course, that it's the globalist class that have made all these different groups come into the Western world, that have told us about utopian equality, that have forced mass migration, that have told women that the real duty in their life is to compete with men, to serve a corporation rather than the family. So again, it's somewhat ironic that Varoufakis, in allegedly opposing globalism, actively promotes the globalist ideology, and when somebody pushes against it, i.e. I prefer traditional values, that to his mind is under the bracket of fascism. And again, the implicit assumption is that to him it just doesn't matter if you have millions upon millions of people pumped into a small country, each with different cultures, different traditional understandings, different backgrounds. It's all just false consciousness that this is a problem because you're a sick, twisted bigot. Now, it's dressed up in some flowery academic language and faux empathy, but the central message is the same that we always get from the liberal system. You're evil if you're concerned about being made a minority in your own country. You're evil if you're concerned about cultural decline. You're evil if you have traditional values. What you need to do is embrace the intersectional socialist utopia where we're borderless and live happily ever after. Otherwise, you're an evil fascist. And as I say, the irony on all of this is what Varoufakis is promoting is globalism itself, the bloody numpty. What you create when you have his worldview is this.
I'm here today as your second candidate for Caerdydd Penarth. My name's Tessa Marshall, a queer, Welsh-speaking, disabled, deaf woman.
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say that's our vote confirmed for the Greens. We're also supposed to believe that people like Eddie Izzard are women. As you can see, Eddie on your screen now is out for a jog. And what woman wears a full face of makeup when they go for a jog? And most women don't have to do that because we can all tell that they're women. But of course, according to Yanis, I'd be a fascist for saying such things. And also, I'll say it, I'm getting sick of modern women. Don't get me wrong, I love women when they're in their feminine, I think they're great. But this modern women who are aggressive, who are rude, who always want to compete with men, always lecturing everybody on podcasts as if they understand the world in some deep way. Here's Paloma Faith with a t-shirt on saying confident MILF, showing how she's actually not that confident after all.
People keep saying it to me, you've got this. I hate that expression so much. No, actually...
Oh man, the other woman nodding. I can't handle it.
So much. No, actually today I don't have this. I feel awful. Last week I felt so overwhelmed that I actually started wishing that I would take myself to A&E and say I'm mentally too unwell to deal with life. Please section me and have a week off and sit in bed and read a few books for a week, and everyone feels sorry for me for a week because they've really realised now at this point that it is too much.
Yeah.
Sorry, what the fuck are these women even talking about? From what I can gather, they're paid millions of pounds to sing stupid songs and record podcasts, and they need some time out so the world feels sorry for them.
Yeah.
And just give me the sympathy that I really crave.
I hear you.
And just be like, oh... sorry guys, you all had to do my life for me for a week and then just come out and be like, I read 3 books this week. It's brilliant.
And no one said mum for a whole week.
There's something about women like this which is somehow detestable. I'm sure they're all feminists and think they're all great and better than men and the rest of it, but they clearly show in their worldview that they're just women deep down. They'd probably be better off at home, taking care of the kids, looked after by a decent bloke, a traditional society. And again, to Yanis, that would make me some evil fascistic bigot. And remember, fascist is just code word for evil in this day and age. But I do wonder, at what point do the Western people say, all right, I'm a fascist, I'm a racist, I'm a homophobe, whatever you want me to be, I am. I just don't care anymore because the modern world you've created is just too unbearable. I mean, I say this because people have tried to have sensible conversations, but even milquetoast Thatcherites like Farage are put in the same bracket as Hitler and Mussolini. It's actually all part of what I call liberal authoritarianism. You will do exactly as we say and exactly as we want, otherwise we'll paint you as the epitome of pure evil and then use every power of the state to crack down on you. And they do all this while they're supposedly opposing oppression and globalism. They are the damn globalists, the bloody sellouts. But look, my hope with all of this is we can get to a point where we're so sick of it all that we just wipe the slate clean. No more listening to the word spells, they've stopped working. No more falling into their ideological games and their stupid utopian leftist liberal ideological worldview. Instead, we start afresh from the very roots of tradition. Yeah, they'll still be there calling everyone evil, but let's try and treat these people like yappy dogs. My hope is by doing this we can rediscover strong and firm foundations, a sense of unity, a sense of the transcendent as well, which informs us rather than being pushed from pillar to post by the whims and storms of the global market and the madness of the globalist liberal left ideology which has locked everybody in this sort of utopian insanity. Anyway, as always, these are my thoughts. Do let me know what you think down below, and if you're new, do consider subscribing to the channel.